it's only going to get worse. Trump is going to get more dangerous as he continues to lose control of his own party. He continues to go down in the polls. He continues to lose in court. Good morning, Steph.
I apologize for objectifying you like a cheap piece of meat. Uh, I love how he ignores me.
Totally.
That's my favorite.
Uh-huh.
He just
Yep.
poker face.
Yep.
Okay. So
Like a good prosecutor.
He's used to it.
Yeah.
where do we start with this, Glenn? Here's the thing. So we got not just Signalgate, but these war crimes this week with Pete Hegseth. I just saw this story today. J.D. Vance fired off a message on that infamous Signal group chat the day after the Atlantic revealed it. And at 2:26 a.m., he wrote, "This chat's kind of dead. Anything going on?" Given the context, he appeared to be joking.
Yeah.
They don't think this is a big joke. And somebody, wrote about the war crimes, and Pete Hegseth is like, happy to comply, just blew up another boat. Like, they act like what has happened so far. They're completely lawless, and they think it's funny.
Steph, if you can't have a little fun endangering the troops, then when can you have a little fun? Let's be clear. Pete Hegseth is not leading the troops. He's misleading the troops, and they are in harm's way. He is endangering our national security. He's killing human beings in international waters with no legal justification. But really, perhaps most importantly, he is endangering our soldiers, our airmen, our, all of our service members. And they seem to be treating it like it's a joke. It's not a joke. So, I interviewed, not to give this organization a plug, but the head of something called the Orders Project, ordersproject.com. That is a hotline where soldiers and sailors and seamen can call and get a subject matter expert on lawful versus unlawful orders. These are attorneys, former JAGs, and they can get free pro bono services, legal services in real time to make sure that, Pete is not putting them in harm's way. And it's something that is serving military members nationwide.
So Jim Himes said you have two individuals in clear distress without any means of locomotion with a destroyed vehicle who were killed by the United States. He said outright the U.S. attacked shipwrecked sailors, which is against the Geneva Convention. He said, yes, they were carrying drugs. They were not in the position to continue their mission in any way. To try to imply they had radio, cell phones when they just got blown out of the water is just so absurd.
To say that there's some ongoing threat, first of all, let's not forget that these strikes in the first instance are unlawful. They violate domestic law, international law, military law, and the law of war, and we're not at war. So I hate that we're almost being consumed by the second strike, where we're now blowing defenseless people clinging to burning wreckage. We're blowing them apart because the first strikes are unlawful, and I hope we don't lose sight of that.
Yeah, no, that's exactly a good point. So we've got only, I guess, Rand Paul, House Intelligence Committee Chairman Mike Turner, Republican of Ohio, sounded the alarm over the strikes on alleged. But this is what the kind of language we get. Members are very concerned. I mean, he said, what intelligence is being used? What do we really know about these individuals? What do we know about the cargo? Quite frankly, many members have very much have concerns as to whether or not the accuracy of what information is being used is on the level for us to even know what's happening in this area. I mean, we know a lot of the Five Eyes have stopped supplying us with intelligence because they don't want to be involved in war crimes. So I mean,
other nations no longer trust us to share intelligence. I mean, this is where we are, and this is why we have to work our tails off. Not only up to the midterms, but through the midterms, because it's only going to get worse. Trump is going to get more dangerous as he continues to lose control of his own party. He continues to go down in the polls. He continues to lose in court. I'm sure we'll talk about the Letitia James thing.
Yeah.
So, we just need to redouble our efforts to make sure we prevent this.
This is why we need them under oath, because they can't stop lying, Glenn. They've changed the story. Hegseth changed this story how many times? And they go on Fox News and brag and then pretend they didn't say things. So the top admiral admits narco boat strike survivors couldn't have called for help because was it Tom Cotton floated that? They had no devices of any kind. I mean, it's just it's just sort of common sense. I mean, here's the bigger picture. Speaking of Rand Paul, he has warned that Trump's strikes on alleged drug runners are a prelude to an invasion of Venezuela. He said, I don't like the idea of an offensive war. I don't like the idea of regime change. It's really one of the things I liked about Donald Trump was he was against the Iraq war. I think that's suspect. There's one clip of him on Howard Stern when he asked him about it, and he said, are you against it? He goes, I guess so. Donald Trump doesn't have any core values of any kind. This was one of the scams he sold, is that he was a peace president or whatever. He said he was against war because often regime change leads to chaos and great expenditures in both lives and treasure. So I hope that's not what's coming, but it certainly looks like it's a possibility. I mean, Trump said it, right? Well, yeah, we're doing this and we're going to do it on land.
Yeah, and I love when the Rand Pauls, glom onto, as you point out, one thing that maybe Donald Trump said decades ago. And I guess Rand Paul is like, well, the misogyny and the bigotry and the prejudice and the xenophobia and none of that really, because once 28 years ago, he said he was against this thing. I mean, come on, Rand, really?
So you posted, whereas it's a good development that a suspect has been arrested in the pipe bombing, you said, given the lack of legitimacy of people like Bond and Patel, though, if any of the evidence in this case will reflect poorly on Trump, is there any way in hell they would share it with the public? I mean, and here it is, FBI arrest suspect, identified as a Virginia man. Here's the problem. Like you say, you don't trust anything they say or do. I mean, right out of the chute, they blame Biden for not, catching them and blah, 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 right?
Yeah, that press conference was an abomination. I've been involved in lots of press conferences as a former federal prosecutor over the years. And it's not a time to glad hand and high five and blame earlier administrations for, your perceived failures. And I've got the warrant right here that I've gone through several times. It is a real curiosity because there's an absence of evidence. I don't want to go through the whole analysis, and I hate, Steph, that my mind first went to, okay, just like they took 1,000 FBI agents to scrub the Epstein files of all references to Donald Trump, are they now scrubbing the pipe bomber files of anything that could paint Donald Trump in a bad light? I wish I didn't have to think that way, but Kash Patel has proved
Glenn,
that's exactly how we have to think.
It obviously appears to be part of the January 6th operation to overturn the election results and stop the peaceful transfer of power. One of them, the bombs was this close to Kamala Harris. So they're going to tell us this is some anti-Trumper, I guess, is what it feels like they're teeing up.
Well, and don't forget, he's already granted pardons for all of the January 6th attackers. And those pardons were so poorly written. I mean, they were an abomination in the first place. This defendant will say, oh, I'm so glad because I am also covered by those Trump pardons. Yeah. That is the first battleground in this case.
Well, getting sick always happens at the worst time, doesn't it? Middle of the night, weekends, right before the holidays, your doctor's office is closed, urgent care means long waits and big bills. That's why I keep a medical emergency kit at home. Prescription medications ready when I need them. This is not a first aid kit. It's like having urgent care and pharmacy right in your home. You get essential prescriptions like generic Z-Pak, plus antibiotics for pneumonia, strep, ear, sinus infections, even meds for nausea and UTIs. Just match your symptoms to the guidebook or connect with the telemedicine doctor. Take your meds early, feel better faster. Listen to what Jenny from Texas said. We got hit by Hurricane Beryl with power out and no medical facilities open. I started on the antibiotics in my kit and quickly began feeling better. Order your kit online in minutes before you need it, and your kit is shipped to your door. Visit urgentcarekit.com/Stephanie. Use the promo code Stephanie. Save $45. That's urgentcarekit.com/Stephanie. That promo code is Stephanie.